Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. It's crazy out there in the market right now.
Oh, yeah,
So much going on, and a lot of companies making huge moves.
absolutely.
But one we've been watching, and one you asked us to break down, is PMGC Holdings.
Oh, yeah, PMGC.
Ticker symbol ELAB.
Definitely having a moment, that's for sure. A lot of investors are kind of scratching their heads, trying to figure out if this is the next big thing or if it's all just hype.
Right. I mean, think about it. They sell off their entire skincare business, and bam, their stock goes up 125% the next day.
Yeah.
What is the deal with that?
Well, it's not quite as simple as, cause and effect. The skincare divestiture, while significant, is just one piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
What's really interesting is the strategic shift it signals. By Shen and Elevai Skincare, PMGC, is essentially betting big on biopharmaceuticals.
Okay, so let's break down this skincare shakeup.
Yeah.
They sold Elevai to Carmel Corporation for $1.1 million, which on its own isn't a massive sum.
Right.
But here's the intriguing part. PMGC negotiated a 5% royalty on all future Elevai skincare revenues for the next 5 years. Is that a smart move?
It could be. Now, 5% might not sound like much, but if Carmel successfully expands Elevai's market share, those royalties could add up.
Yeah.
It essentially allows PMGC to maintain a passive income stream from their former core business while freeing up resources to focus on their new venture.
So they're not completely cutting ties with skincare. They're kind of keeping a toe in the water just in case.
Right.
But the real focus, it seems, is on biopharma,
Yeah.
and specifically on obesity treatment.
Yes, and that's where things get really fascinating. PMGC, or I should say Northstrive Biosciences, their newly renamed biopharma division, has this lead asset called EL22.
EL22.
It's an engineered probiotic, and the science behind it is pretty remarkable.
Engineered probiotic, huh? Now you got to explain that one to me, because I'm picturing yogurt with like tiny robots in it.
Not quite. Essentially, they've taken a naturally occurring probiotic and modified it at the genetic level to enhance specific functions. In this case, EL22 is designed to preserve muscle mass during weight loss, and that's a huge EG deal in the obesity treatment market.
Okay, so I'm starting to see why this is so potentially game-changing.
Yeah.
Because usually when people lose weight, they lose both fat and muscle, right?
Right.
But if EL22 can help preserve that muscle mass.
Exactly. It could lead to more sustainable weight loss, potentially even improving metabolic health and reducing the risk of other health complications. Now, this is all still in the clinical trial phase,
Right.
but Northstrive is presenting their latest findings at a UCLA symposium on February 7th. That's definitely a date to keep an eye on.
Got it, February 7th. Mark your calendars, folks.
Yeah.
But let's face it, the market isn't waiting around for clinical trial results.
Right.
PMGC stock has been on a wild ride lately, and it's enough to make anyone's head spin.
It has. You mentioned that 125% surge on January 24th, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're talking a 52-week low of $1.74 and a high of $208. Currently, it's hovering around 3.9.
Wow.
That kind of volatility is not for the faint of heart.
Okay, so let's try to make sense of these numbers.
Okay.
What's the story they're telling us about PMGC's current position?
Well, the current market cap is around $9.53 million. Their revenue is sitting at about $2.45 million, but they're reporting a net loss of $5.47 million.
Okay.
So clearly they're not profitable yet, but that's not unusual for a company in this stage of development.
So they're spending more than they're making,
Right.
but they're investing heavily in research and development, which could pay off big time down the road.
Precisely. And that's why it's so important to look beyond the raw numbers and consider the broader context.
Yeah.
Are they making strategic investments that are likely to drive future growth? Do they have a strong management team with a clear vision? These are the questions investors need to be asking.
And speaking of strategic investments, there's this other intriguing piece of the puzzle we haven't even touched on yet.
Yeah.
The rumors of a potential partnership with a leading AI firm.
Ah, yes. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Integrating artificial intelligence into drug discovery and development is one of the hottest trends in the biopharma space right now.
Really?
And if PMGC manages to secure a partnership with a major player in AI, it could give them a significant competitive advantage.
Okay, so you're saying AI could potentially revolutionize the way they develop new treatments.
Absolutely. AI can analyze massive data sets of medical information, identify patterns that humans might miss,
Wow.
and even help predict the effectiveness of potential drug candidates. This can significantly speed up the drug development process and reduce costs.
So imagine this PMGC leveraging AI to supercharge their research on EL22.
Right.
They could potentially bring this game-changing obesity treatment to market much faster than anyone anticipated.
Exactly. And that's just one example. The applications of AI in biopharma are vast. Imagine AI helping to personalize treatments based on an individual's genetic makeup or lifestyle factors.
Oh, wow.
Imagine AI predicting potential side effects before a drug even enters clinical trials. The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing.
Okay, this is all very exciting, but let's be realistic for a moment.
Okay.
Is PMGC really in a position to pull this off? They're a relatively small company. They're not yet profitable.
Right.
And the biopharma space is incredibly competitive.
You're right. There are definitely challenges ahead. But let's not underestimate the potential of a company with a clear vision and a willingness to embrace innovation.
Okay.
And that's what we're seeing with PMGC. They're not afraid to make bold moves, shedding their old skin, so to speak, and betting big on what they see as the future of healthcare.
So for an investor like you, what's the biggest risk and the biggest potential reward with PMGC right now?
That's a great question. I think the biggest risk is that their bet on biopharma doesn't pay off. EL22 could fail in clinical trials, the AI partnership might not materialize, or they could simply get outmaneuvered by bigger, more established players in the market.
So in other words, they could end up back at square one,
Yeah.
but with even less to fall back on.
Exactly. But the potential reward is equally significant. If EL22 proves to be as effective as they believe it could be, and if they successfully leverage AI to accelerate their drug development process, PMGC could become a major player in the biopharma space. And for early investors, the returns could be astronomical.
So it sounds like we're talking about a high-risk, high-reward scenario.
Oh,
Not exactly for the faint of heart.
definitely not. This is a stock for investors who are comfortable with volatility,
Okay.
who believe in the long-term potential of the biopharma space,
Right.
and who are willing to ride out the ups and downs that inevitably come with investing in a company at this stage of development.
Okay, so let's say you're an investor who's intrigued by PMGC's story and wants to learn more. Where should you start? What are the key things to focus on?
First and foremost, I'd recommend digging deeper into their investor relations materials.
Okay.
They have a lot of information available on their website about their financials, their management team, and their strategic plans.
And what about independent research? Should investors be looking at analyst reports, industry news, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. It's crucial to get a well-rounded perspective. Analyst reports can provide valuable insights into a company's strengths and weaknesses. And industry news can help you stay up to date on the latest developments and trends.
Now, we talked about the stock price volatility earlier.
Yeah.
How should investors be thinking about that? Is it a red flag or just par for the course for a company like PMGC?
It's important to remember that volatility is often a reflection of uncertainty.
Yep.
And with a company like PMGC, there's a lot of uncertainty. They're essentially a startup in a very competitive market, and their success is far from guaranteed.
So that volatility is a sign that investors are still trying to figure out what PMGC is worth,
Yeah.
what their true potential is.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to do your own research, to understand the risks involved, and to make investment decisions based on a clear understanding of the company's fundamentals, not just on short-term stock movements.
Okay, so we've talked about the risks, the rewards, the potential of AI, the need for independent research. What's the bottom line here? What's the key takeaway for investors who are considering PMGC?
I think the key takeaway is that PMGC is a company at a crossroads. They've made some bold moves.
Yeah.
They have a compelling vision for the future, but their success is far from certain.
So should investors buy, sell, or hold?
That's a decision each individual investor needs to make based on their own risk tolerance, their investment goals, and their belief in PMGC's long-term potential. There's no easy answer here.
Sounds like PMGC is a classic buy on the dips kind of stock.
Potentially, but only for investors who understand the inherent risks and have a long-term investment horizon. This isn't a stock you want to be day trading.
So let's imagine I'm an investor who's decided to take the plunge. What should I be watching for in the coming months? What are the key indicators of success or failure for PMGC?
First and foremost, keep a close eye on their clinical trial results. For EL22 Northstrive is presenting their findings at that UCLA symposium on February 7th, and that could be a major catalyst for the stock one way or the other.
So if the results are positive, we could see another surge in the stock price.
That's certainly possible, Positive clinical trial results would validate their approach and increase investor confidence in their ability to bring a viable obesity treatment to market.
And what if the results are disappointing?
Well, in that case, we could see a significant drop in the stock price. It would signal that their lead asset might not be as promising as they had hoped, and that could raise doubts about their entire biopharma strategy.
So February 7th is date to circle on the calendar.
Definitely.
But beyond that, what else should investors be paying attention to?
I'd be looking for any news regarding that potential AI partnership. If they can secure a deal with a reputable AI firm, that would be a major vote of confidence in their vision and their ability to execute.
And I imagine it would also send a strong signal to the market that they're serious about being at the forefront of innovation in biopharma.
Exactly. It would demonstrate that they're not just a one-trick pony with EL22, but that they're building a platform for developing multiple groundbreaking treatments.
Okay, so clinical trial results, AI partnership news, anything else?
Keep an eye on their financials, of course. Look for signs that they're managing their cash burn effectively and that they have a clear path to profitability, and pay attention to their management team. Are they making smart decisions? Are they attracting top talent? These are all indicators of a company that's building for the long term.
It sounds like there's a lot to watch with PMGC. It's definitely not a set it and forget it kind of investment.
No, it's not. But for investors who are willing to do their homework, stay informed, and embrace the inherent volatility, it could be a very rewarding ride.
Well, there you have it, PMGC Holdings. A company in transformation, a bet on the future of biopharma, and a story that's just beginning to unfold.
We'll certainly be watching closely, and we encourage all of you to do the same.
This has been Investing Talk Podcast. We hope you found this breakdown of PMGC Holdings helpful, and we encourage you to keep the conversation going. Subscribe to our channel, share this episode with your fellow investors, and leave us a comment with your thoughts on PMGC. Until next time, happy investing.